Hello everyone, back with another live stream. It's a rainy day in New York City. It's been rainy for a few days now. You can see all the lines they painted for the gas in the road. Still have a natural gas leak somewhere out there. They came and dug another hole down the street, and then the next day they filled it back in, so I guess they didn't find the leak. But today we're working on this block again. Finally finished carving it for the next color. We put you in the tripod here. Can I zoom? Yes, I can. All right. Let me just pull up my stream there. Let me raise this up a little. Stream there. Let me raise this up a little. And I'll turn down this sound. Let me raise this up a little. There we go. Now I can see the comments. All right, so today we're just doing more printing on this block. I tried to announce this live stream on my Instagram. Unfortunately, it took like 15 minutes to upload. So it just came up like 5 minutes ago. So next time I'll have to think about that. Get it posted earlier in the day. So we have like a warm gray tone or brown. I'll show you the print so far. This is the print so far. It's kind of a dark orange color we printed last. This paper is very floppy today because it's so humid out. So I have to be careful, make sure the registration is good. So I'll press that down lightly and take it over to the press. I'll be right back. I'm running this through the press one time, one pass. Let's see what that looks like. All right, it's looking pretty good. You can start to see the cracks that are forming. Hey Pam, glad you made it. I was thinking about you today, so I posted it on my Instagram, so you can get a notice. So I'm pretty happy with this color. Again, the next layer on top of this, a lot of this color will be covered. So just kind of slowly building the tones forward. It's starting to look like a nice rock color. And these cracks are starting to pop. And you can see what I'm doing up here, I hope, where I'm staggering the colors. It's went from black to like a purple color to then a warm orange brown, and now it's kind of a cooler brown color. So I'm kind of staggering these cools and warms over top of each other to build up the tones, to bring some interest into these dark colors. But I think the light, it's starting to add some light into the print now. We're getting closer to the lighter values now. So I'll do a side-by-side comparison. Of the before and after. I put a little bit too much water in this paper today, so I'm going to keep the print out for a couple minutes before I print on it. So this is the before, this is the after. You can see how much that changes. You really start to see the texture in the rocks, the features of the rock. It's almost a little too light, this color, but I like it, so I'm going to keep going with it. So I'll bring my block back. Let's ink up another one. Yeah, it took me a while to carve this block as well. It took probably 5 or 6 hours of carving, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it was taking me a while. I was kind of getting burned out of carving this block, so I took a little bit of time off, a couple days. It was just getting a little bit monotonous. But I finished it up today, this morning, and I figured I'd do a quick little live stream for you to show you the new color. I put some titanium white in this mixture today, so that's very opaque. But it's an old tin of titanium. The ink is old, so there's a lot of debris in it. So I got to keep cleaning my roller and my palette as I go along. Try not to get those chunks of old pigment, dried pigment on my print. I got this little piece of rock that comes up here. I have to be careful not to get ink on the side there. Make sure I get the whole thing. We have a comment here from Carrie. Thank you, I appreciate it. Welcome. I'm glad you made it. So let's see how this print goes. So I just left this one out for about a minute because it was a little too damp. And this feels better. The paper has a better, it's not so floppy. So I was worried about the registration. So I lay that down gently. Nice light pressure. And then I take this over to the press. Be right back. Send it through the press one time. And I've kept the same pressure on this press since I started this print. So it's always at the same pressure. So I know it's working. I have to peel this up slowly. It's sticking to the block, and I want to avoid getting any creases in my paper. So I'm just watching it as I pull it up to make sure that it doesn't get any creases. Hello, Marius. Yeah, we got a new color today. Starting to come together. This color adds some light to the rock feature. We have about 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think we have 4 more impressions to go on this rock. So each layer is going to get a little bit lighter and change the colors a little bit each time. And then we got to do the rope and this little piece of gear that's hanging there. So there'll be a couple little Mokahanga impressions or water-based impressions. So we got to figure out what color we want to make the rope. And then we'll make this gear, the webbing, a certain color, and we'll figure out what we're going to do there as well. So yeah, it's coming together. I'm happy with it. It's taking a lot longer than I anticipated, and a lot longer than I really want to spend on one print, but hopefully it works out in the end. Hopefully it's worth it. So we'll see. But yeah, I don't really like to work on prints that take more than 2 months. It's a long time. I'd like to get a print finished in 3 weeks. So my next print is going to be a Mokahanga print, and it's going to be much faster. And I'd like to do some more experimental printing where I'm carving and printing at a much faster rate to get some different energy in these prints, because this print's a little bit too detailed for me, and it's a little bit too dependent on the photograph. And I'd like to work from some sketches or some paintings that I make first and make some more interesting textural prints. Yeah, good cooking takes time. This dish took a long time, or is taking a long time. Again, this paper's a little too damp at the moment, so I'm just gonna air dry it a little bit. Before I lay it down. It's amazing how fast this paper dries if it's just out of the pack. So we press that down with the Baron. I guess I could take you over to the press real quick so you can see that. It's not too exciting, but just to give you a good idea of what's happening. Raise you up here. All right, can you see here? Yes. So we just lay the block down. Have a cardstock. Just goes over the top, and I have this little pusher blanket. Just hold it down, get the print started. Go through once. We don't want to make any creases in the paper. I'll bring you back over to the table here. Perfect. So that's today's work. Just gonna go through these. I have about 12 more to print. Yeah, it's not any more difficult to work with the large sheet. It's not too bad. It would be difficult if I was printing a Mokahanga print that was this large, because I'd have to really press with the Baron a lot. But because this is oil based, it's not too bad. Just want to make sure I have enough on here. Forgot to air out my sheet. We're covering up this dark brown, orange brown color. To the press. A little piece of pigment on this one. I'm gonna make sure clean. Keep an eye on the margins here. I think that was from the last impression though. So. I did get a little pigment on there, the Kento. Keep an eye out for that. Thanks, Pam. Yeah, I'm not too chatty today. It's been rainy here in New York City. I haven't been getting outside much. The little piece of pigment in the corner, yeah, I'm not worried about it at all. It happens. I mean, this is 20-something impressions, so if there's a little bit of pigment on one, just so be it. And the best thing to do would be to let it dry. And I can kind of like scrape it off a little bit with my knife. But no, I'm not going to mess with it. It's just a little tiny piece. I left the margins quite large. And if you were to frame this or whatever, it's just the way it is. These are handmade prints, and I'm not worried about a little smudge on the margin. It happens. But I want to prevent it from happening again. So I'm going to make sure that those areas are clean. Yeah, and if I try to use a solvent or something to correct it and try to clean it, it just makes it look even more of a mess. It makes it look like a bigger mistake than it is, so you just leave it. If it was water-based, you could kind of blot it out with some water, but because it's oil-based, you just leave it. I used to work for an old master, a print gallery that specialized in old master prints like Rembrandts and Whistler etchings and, you know, really old 15th, 16th, 17th century stuff. Maybe not 15th century, 17th, 18th century stuff. And if you had a print from an edition that was either in a working state or had some little nuance that showed a little bit of variety than the regular prints, it actually makes the prints more valuable in a way. So let's see if I kept my margin clean this time. Clean. I did. So we fixed that little problem. You're right, though. I could maybe try to use a little solvent to get it out. Now I'm curious. I'm wondering if I can get this little speck out. So let's do a little project here, a little side project. So we have a little speck of ink here. I'm gonna get a little little terpenoid or odorless mineral spirits. I need to get more of this. I only have a little bit left. I'm gonna put a tiny bit on this rag. Almost out of this. See how that absorbed into the paper? See, it doesn't blot out very well. So we'll let that dry, but it doesn't really help it. Yeah, wasn't too scary. You know, if I lose 1 or 2 prints, it's okay. It's not the end of the world, but that's in the margin. I can always trim the margin, and you would never even know. Just make it a little bit smaller. But also what I'll do is, this is going to be in an exhibition, so if I get one of these matted and framed, I'll just take that one with a little bit of pigment in the corner. It's going to be matted, covered by a mat anyways, so I'll just get that one framed. All right, we're going to take this over to the press. And you can see how clean the registration has been, because this white rope has been in this area here This has been cut away from the very first block. So that registration has been really clean up to this point. It also helps that this area is closest to the corner Kento when I lay this down. So if it was up here, the furthest point, registration usually from the furthest point of the Kento usually is off the most. But even so, if you look up here at the corner, the registration is still super tight. No issues at all. So that's what's nice about doing reductive blocks. It's the same block every time, same Kento every time, and you can really get a precise image from using just one block. Taking out the print this time so it can dry out a little bit. Yeah, it appears to be realistic, but then when you see it up close and you really look at the layers and the shapes, you start to see that it's just a lot of little chunks of wood that are carved away, small little chunks. So it's very pixelated up close. But from a distance, it does look like a photograph, but it is because I am working directly from a photograph. There was no real editing of the photo. I just cropped it the way I wanted it, and then I separated layers. Better put this away in case I spill it. Make sure there's no ink here. You know, like these shapes in the sky, they're just little blobs, little circles. These shapes in the rock are all just little triangles and lines. From a distance, it's reading well. I know I had an issue with my microphone last time, Pam. Hopefully it sounds better this time. Last time I just had my microphone, and I had a single microphone on mono, and I had it attached to my tripod that's holding my camera. And so when I was over here printing, I was far from the microphone and you couldn't hear me. But today I have the attached to my shirt with a lapel microphone. So it should be better, I hope. I don't know why I set it up that way. I just forgot. So here it is. So yeah, this is what we're doing today. A couple more of these, and I'm gonna go pick up my son from the bus in an hour. So I gotta get going. So pretty consistent. So I'll do maybe one more and then I'll end this stream. If anyone has any questions or comments, now's the time. Then I'm gonna have to start cleaning this block. So after I'm done printing these, I have to really scrub this block multiple times with some odorless mineral spirits, and to get all this oil pigment off. I actually have to scrub it after I get all the oil off as much as I can. I actually use a little bit of Dawn soap and a brush, and I really scrubbed it. Try to get all that oil off of the surface. Then after that dries, I did a nice light sanding, maybe like 300 grit sanding, and just kind of open the fibers again in this wood grain, just so that I can get a good adhesion when I put the next color sheet down, the next piece of Gampi. It sticks to the wood because it is a water-based paste that I use. So I want to get it back to closest to the original wood surface as possible. So I can only do that for so long, I think. But the Dawn soap actually really pulled out a lot of the oil. So it takes a day or two to clean this block up properly. And then I have to glue down my next transfer sheet. And then I have to carve. So it's going to be another week probably. You know, I thought I'd be able to finish this print by now, but it's really taking a lot longer than I expected. But it's all a learning process. I'll definitely know what to not do the next time. Thanks, Pam. Yeah, I like sharing all this information. Just all the steps along the way. And before I do this live stream, I just set up my camera on. I get a clip of me doing taking an impression for a longer YouTube video when this project's all finished. I'm going to try to show every layer, almost every layer, for a longer format video. So I just set up the camera and the microphone and do the quick little recording. And then I just hit play on the live stream. So for me, it's an easy setup. I don't mind doing it. So I'm going to peel this up. It's like a triangle, so I'm pulling this taut and I'm slowly bringing it up at the same time. So I'm keeping the paper taut and I'm watching the paper come off the block, because you can get creases if you just yank it up really fast, and those creases won't come out of the paper sometimes. So let's see how many more I have left. About 7 or 8 more to do. So yeah, it's been raining for like 2 or 3 days straight. The only good part about this rain is that it's washing all of the pollen away. Because like over the weekend, the pollen was so bad. All these trees were just shedding flowers and pollen, and it was windy and it was just everywhere. All the cars were yellow. So this 2 days of rain has really been good for people that have allergies. Yeah, it's quite painterly. It kind of looks like a painting almost. I'm liking it. Let's see how many people we have. 11 people. You do get in a rhythm when you're doing this kind of work. It's getting faster and faster each impression for me. Maintaining good consistent prints. Maybe I'll show you out the window for a little while so you can see what's going on outside. Not too much. It's really quiet out there actually. You know, when it's rainy and the weather's not so nice, people don't spend too much time out in the streets. The kids across the street at school, they usually go to the park for their gym class or their physical education class. So they're in and out all day making tons of noise. So it's kind of nice having a nice quiet rainy day while we're working in the studio. There's not much going on out there at all. Whoops. Alright, so I'm gonna end this stream now. Got one more. See you later, Pam. Thanks for joining in. And that's it. So I'm just going to keep finishing these, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your week. I'll see you maybe next week sometime. Bye-bye.